It's then past 10 o'clock, so I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is a regular Commissioners Court meeting, County of Starr, Monday, January the 11th. I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you all for being here. Everyone will please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show that we do have a quorum, everyone being present. Also, before we get started, Commissioner, I want to welcome you to your first meeting, and we're looking forward to working with you and advancing whatever needs to happen for our county, so welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Public comments, anyone give it?
There's none, Your Honor.
The minutes, we have them in front of you.
Motion to approve, Your Honor. Second motion.
Moved and second to approve, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Vendors list, Mr. President.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. You should have a copy of the vendors list there in front of you. There's about 10 new vendors. We reviewed them and we recommend they go through. Motion to approve, Your Honor.
Is there a second? Moved and second to approve, discussion. All in favor, please, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is claims.
Yes, again, you should have a copy of the claims list in front of you. It contains 8 pages. We reviewed them and we recommend they go through.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and second, discussion. All in favor, please, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'm gonna ask the court for permission to go into executive session at this point. We have Mr. Julian Gomez from the law firm to update us on some information. Also, in executive session, I guess we can go ahead and take care of everything. We have, well, it's 10:10, and pursuant to section 551.074 and 551.071, we will go into executive session to discuss order of salaries, the ASO billing, and the purpose to contract Mr. Julian Gomez law firm. So, if it's okay with the court.
Effective of the remaining 9 months of participation in enrollment that's already been encumbered as a recurring expense. So if we take that out of it, the result is an excess of $68,361 for the bridge. The gas operating system reflects year-to-date revenues of $226,499, with expenditures of $182,397, an excess of $44,102. And finally, the solid waste transfer station has year-to-date revenues of $255,949, with expenditures of $285,823, which is a deficit of $29,874. Finally, page 6 reflects a summary of the debt owed as of December 31st, 2020. The total current balance is $1,885,367. Any questions on any of that?
Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to item number 8. This is, these are the budgets for Mr. Hernandez. It's 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Judge, Commissioners, spent the last about approximately a month and a half, 2 months working with the auditor's office. Javi and myself have met 4 to 6 times, I believe, and we came up with the budget before you. In the format that he, I think going forward, this is a great format, and I think that the process will be a lot easier the coming years.
The only one that I have a question on, Mr. Canales,
Yes, sir.
is, the others I'm okay with, is on the 8-liner forfeiture account.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask the court, if we can, to please table that one, until we get a little more, I guess, direction on that one as to, the money. What brings, I guess, a question to my mind is that on the first, budget that you submitted, you had drawing from that account, if I recall correctly, it was around 350,000, Javi, I don't know if you remember.
Oh, well, I
can
can explain that, Judge. The way that we had previously, and I say we, I mean as a county, and it seems to me that I'm actually a year behind the Commissioner's Court, as far as modifying. If you all will remember, last budget year, not this October, the previous October, I walked in here with my miscellaneous accounts at like 10,000-15,000, and Commissioner Garza, rightfully so, questioned him and said, why can he and we can't? That was because you all had met with the auditor's office, and the auditors had clarified that he, as a purpose of accounting purposes, it wasn't a good practice to have. I had not met with the auditor's office, I was completely unaware. Same thing with the way the budgets are, now they're realistic. That's the word I'm gonna use. Previously, pie in the sky. I would just throw numbers up there. Maybe we're gonna hit 400,000, maybe we're gonna hit 500,000, I don't know. Maybe I'll spend 300, I don't know. I'm just gonna put it out there, that more or less. And if you go back historically and look at my numbers, I never came close to those numbers that were on that 8-liner budget. It was never even close. Those were honestly, and I will tell you all, those were numbers that were just pulled out of thin air. There was no rhyme or reason for it. It was not that there was gonna be that kind of money. It was just, I would rather overshoot than undershoot and have to come in and do a budget correction. That was what I was doing at that time, on the 8-liners. On the 8-liners, I don't recall what number we put on there, Mr. Pettis.
It showed that you had a beginning balance of 17,000, so that raises all kind of flags for me. How can you expect to spend 350 when all you have is 17,000?
No, that's exactly, Judge. I didn't expect to spend much of it.
If that was in the budget, that's what you asked us to approve.
Correct, because like I said, pie in the sky. I did not know that how much I would be getting or
Well,
that
see,
I would be spending.
that just doesn't help, because porque if it's pie in the sky, then what is there to prove to the court that everything else is not pie in the sky?
And actually, it was, quite frankly, in years past. And that's why and I think it was right, Judge, that you asked us to sit down with the auditor's office and get realistic numbers. And that's what we've done.
That's one of the things that I have a question on. The other question that I have, and I go back to, we've discussed it before, of the 8-liner forfeiture account, are all the monies considered forfeiture? In my opinion, they're not. Yet it's been spent as forfeitures. So, I'd like to get some guidance from the DA or somebody as to, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
And to that, Judge, it's Chapter 18 is the one that guides it. It's Chapter 18 forfeiture.
But and again, I'm not a lawyer.
Sure.
But in order for something to be forfeited, it must go through the court and be forfeited. See, a lot of this, if what I understand is correct, is the selling back of equipment that have never gone through the court. So they were never forfeited.
No, they were through the JP courts. There's a judgment of forfeiture in the accounting for the money that will come in through the courts. There's judgments on each and every one.
See, I've never seen that. So I'd like to see that.
Sure.
Because my job is to bring every penny that belongs to general fund or road and bridge, or whatever it is. So until I can, I guess, in my mind, have peace of mind that is correct, I would rather, it won't take a couple of
I'll
weeks.
be fine, and that's fine, Judge. I'm here because I want to answer any questions that you may have and to assuage the misconceptions that there are. And I will be very happy to provide you with the judgments on each and every case. Absolutely. We have no problem doing that, Judge. And if the court is wanting to table the chapter, I think it's the bond,
Number 11.
number 11, I have no problem with that again. That's fine. I just wanted to answer and address anything that y'all
Yeah,
think was
that's
going on.
the eight-liner account, that's the one.
Yes, that's fine, Judge. I have no issue with that, and I will be happy to provide your office with judgments going back 2 years on that.
Y llegando hasta number 11.
Mr. Canales, and one time we sat here discussing, going over this matter, you were supposed to turn to the general fund or deposit into the general fund $100,000 in
No, we discussed the possibility of doing that, yes. It was not in relation to eight-liners, it was not in relation to anything of what we're talking about. That was an agreement that the judge and I had come up with.
yeah, we discussed it here
An executive, yes.
in the executive session, and you said, no, that's no problem, I can
And
deposit
that-
$100,000 on, for piece of office, what was that, what was that, Judge?
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah, and Mr. Canales mentioned that his budget was short, that I didn't give enough money to it. And my answer was, yeah, because your office is not bringing in any money.
And that was like literally, I want to say, days before COVID hit in Starr. That's my answer to that one, that things have completely changed.
You know, and there's law that certainly defends that, you know, that you can have settlements with whoever you take to court, whoever you feel needs to be taken, whatever. But, you know, when and it's really the county court of law, but it's not Judge Rodriguez, it's that he doesn't get any cases.
Actually, Judge, we have increased our case filings each and every year. We are now upwards of 2,000 cases that my office receives a year with the same staff that I got 17 years ago. And we are actually increasing the cases that have been filed each and every year. We are not increased.
But see, this is where.
And to that point, Judge, part of what we were discussing earlier with Julian, what he was talking about, and this is something that Judge Rodriguez and I have talked about. He's actually right. That he is correct. Where the hammer that the courts have is setting a trial date, and we have not had that hammer for almost 9 months, going on 9 months. That's part of the reason why cases have just not been moved at all.
Well, and again, you know, I'm not no expert in how courts operate or anything like that, and I don't perceive to be either. But if you file 2,000 cases or 1,000 cases,
1,000 cases.
just take half of that, and each one gets assessed $50 fine. Okay, I mean, the general fund should be getting a chunk of money, and we're not. I don't know if everything's being dismissed, they're filing dismissed.
No, right now, what's going on, Judge, in fact, right now, the probation department is at all-time historically low numbers. Cases are just not being moved by defense attorneys, just bump them and bump them and bump them and bump them.
I can understand that from March of this year to
Yeah.
today, or March of last year to today. But prior to that, it was the same way. I mean,
No.
you weren't getting anything.
That's not exactly accurate, Judge. We look at the numbers, because of the county court law, because of the situation we're in, there's been a steady decline, there has been. Part of it, there was a steep decline once Judge Rodriguez took the office, and we've come to an agreement on how we're gonna address that. And then also there was another decline when we had the public defender's office come in. That really did hurt us. We used to take walk-ins and have a plea, about 4 to 6 people of walk-in pleas every single court date. Now with the public defender's office, we have none. We have 0. And the plea outs have changed completely. They have their mandate that they have to do. All these things have just backed us up. It's like almost culminating in the perfect storm, quite honestly. And that's why we've dropped so precipitously. Our office has filed the cases. We have well over 1,000 cases that are filed each and every year. We have not had a drop-off on the cases filed. We have not had an increase on dismissals either. We're proceeding with. I understand the court is looking, and Your Honor is looking to see where he can get at, and that's the thing, and I do understand that.
You know, again, I have a fiduciary duty
Yes.
of taking care of county money and making sure that the correct amount comes in. I'm not, I'm not trying to promote that we go out there and prosecute people just to make money. No, if they're guilty of something, or you feel they're guilty of something, then we prosecute, you don't, that's fine. But I just find it very difficult to understand that out of 2,000 cases, the assessments that are being, or fines that are being assessed is very minimal.
It actually, what has happened in the last 10 years, I'll go back 10 years, is our court cost structure has completely changed the way we do fines. When I first started as an assistant, we would do fines of $500, $700, $900 continuously and regularly, because our court costs were $175, $196. Now the state has mandated, and you know as well as I do, the court costs, we don't keep any of it. We keep pennies of it. The court cost for a DWI now is in excess of $400. It's very hard to induce a defendant to plead guilty to a DWI and pay a $500 fine when the court costs alone are over $400, plus the probation fees of $720. They'd rather just take their chances because the maximum they can get is 2 years probation. And so we...
For first offense.
Right, and it gets worse thereon. And so what we do is we've had to reduce our fines as far as that has gone, and all of it, and the majority of the money that has been through pleas ends up with court costs, over and over and over again. What we do is $100, maybe $200 every so often on the second DWI. We're lucky to get a $500 one, especially now that we have the PRLA in there. They will not pay somebody out to anything near that. So, I'm just explaining, Judge, and it's something that we've recognized and we're struggling with, and we're trying to get it done.
Well, like I said, I'll ask the court to table number 11, the others I'm okay with, I don't have problems. But I would like an opportunity to look into that particular one.
And I'm completely fine with that, Judge. Like I said, I'll provide you with a copy of those judgments.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to.
Table?
Your Honor, I would like to approve agenda items 8, 9, 10, and 12 with tabling agenda item number 11.
Second one.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Hopefully by our next meeting, we'll have an answer.
Yes, sir. I'll provide you, Judge, with your office, hopefully by Friday, you can get those judgments.
Item 13 is the burn ban. I think it expires and the way things are right now.
We need it. Motion to approve, Your Honor.
Second.
Moved and second to approve a burn ban. Discussion. All in favor, please, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 15 is a action item to approve a short-term contract for consulting services with Guillermo Reina CPA.
14.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's
Don't guard it.
Okay, this is to approve a resolution for fiscal year 2020 Operation Stone Garden. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Moved and second, discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 15 is to approve a short-term contract for consulting services with Guillermo Reina CPA in connection with a county audit. This is Mr. Pettis.
Yes, correct. Yeah, this is something that we were gonna do back in March, April of this past year to try to get caught up with the audit. Of course, that's when COVID hit and we were going minimal staff and not hiring anybody else. And of course, they didn't want to get hired either. Nobody was wanting to come over here. We didn't want anybody coming over here, so we've had to postpone that. And so basically right now is we're getting back to the point where I hope we can do it, so that we can get caught up with the audit. This will be for the 9/30/19 audit, and then it's going to continue with the 9/30 command as well.
Mr. Pettis and I have been talking, and it is a concern with the audit, and it's really severe consequences if we don't get this thing done as soon as possible, because a lot of our funding agencies, first of all, they'll put us on vendor hold, which means those that are approved are already approved, but we cannot draw any money to do any of our projects. What worries me the most is that, if we fall too far behind, we will not be allowed to apply for any additional funding. And that's what really scares me, because we stand to lose,
And that's for 2 years, eh?
for 2 years, we stand to lose millions and millions of dollars if we don't. So what I told Mr. Perez, we're here to help. You need more help, you need more people, just tell us, we just need to get the audit done as soon as possible, and we need to hire more people. Certainly, I can't speak for the court, but I would, if we spend a couple of $100,000 to save $12 million, $15 million, I think the investment is well worth it.
It's gonna cost that much,
No,
200,000?
No, but,
Take a number from the sky, like.
Sacando números del presidente.
I'm just giving a number that.
No, si es así, pues de nada.
No.
¿Qué está pasando?
No. For this individual. But,
Tenemos 3
Yeah,
auditores.
to answer that question, I mean, this has been an ongoing thing for years,
Yeah.
and the problem is that.
But it hasn't been that far like we before. I mean,
Well, mira,
esto comenzó cuando Boy Carter y eso, pero a mí antes no estaba tanto así.
when
It was
Commissioner,
before that, but even before that, we weren't dealing with budgets like we are today. It was working very, very different before, comparing apples to oranges right now. But it has been behind, and part of the problem was, at that point, what you're talking about, se quedaron sin nadie right at the audit time. So the staff members that were left to do it by themselves. So that took a while. And once that happened, then we got
But we never had any problem with the other audits that we had. I mean, nobody had challenged them or anybody had,
we had a problem back, but this was back in '99, when I
Yeah.
first came in, and Commissioner Peña,
Ya no
he
sabía.
came in. Ms. Guerra was here, and we were, I think, 3 years behind in our audit. But back then, the funding agencies didn't seem to care. And I don't know if you recall, Commissioner, but at that time, we had 2 or 3 firms working so that we could catch up on 1 year, because they said, if you don't bring it up, we're gonna cancel your contract.
Yeah.
So we weren't able to do it, but we had to hire, I think it was two firms.
Guillermo Reina de Cali does our audits, ¿no?
No,
No.
You should.
Era el que nos hace ahorita, ¿cómo se llama?
Gonzalo.
Ah, González. ¿Y Reina era el que usaban antes?
No, they don't work for Oscar.
Oh, so they divided. Okay.
Well, they didn't divide, he's not employed with that.
¿Es el Moreno o cuál es
Yeah,
ese?
yeah, so he's gone off.
Y nos vamos a quedar con Oscar para los audits.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Oscar's still doing the
Es que
audit.
me acordaba
que
de
el Moreno es el que va a venir. Estaba con Oscar antes.
No es Ronnie, no.
God bless America.
No, Ronnie dijo.
A ver, ya lo tuvimos en la presa, de hecho, que si andaba queriendo administrar la puerta, dijo, oye, si no te ocuparon para esto, te ocuparon para que sigas el área.
Well, again, we need alguien to help us.
Ese, a ver, ojalá, good luck.
and,
Está bueno. For motion to approve, Your Honor.
Second motion to
yeah,
approve.
moved and second to approve, discussion. You don't have a copy of the contract?
Yes, I do. You have gotten a copy of
It's-
it?
it's
What's
in
the amount?
agenda. Yeah, I was gonna ask how much are we talking about?
It's 85 an
Si
hour.
va a salir más caro las albóndigas que el caldo.
$85 an hour? So that sounds,
Está reasonable.
is reasonable. For security.
Un carapela por el de
¿Cuánto vale? ¿Cuánto va?
85.
85.
Yo necesito uno.
¿Cuál es lo más? Vale.
Y luego pues, no nos lo presta el hoy.
Es del condado.
Es del condado y no nos lo presta.
Whenever you get it done.
Okay, I do have a motion and a second, any
One
further
second.
discussion? All in favor, please, aye.
Ay,
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, 16 and 17 are donations.
Donation, motion to approve donation.
Second.
Motion to approve, second. Discussion?
bueno, más a los viejitos le dieron.
All in all in favor, please, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Items 18 and 19 are budget amendments.
Motion to approve,
Dennis,
Your
are they in order?
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and second to approve, discussion. All in favor, please, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. In executive session, the 18, 19, two together. Item 20 is, or what we discussed was order of salaries. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Moved and second, discussion. All in favor, please, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 21, no action, that was just informational. And then the other thing that we discussed in executive session was the contracting with Julian C. Gomez Law Firm.
Motion to approve to enter a contract with Julian Gomez, Your Honor.
Second.
Moved in second, discussion. All in favor, please, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And is there a motion to adjourn?
Until the morning.
Second, Your Honor.
Moved in second, all in favor, please, aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Jim.